Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Edgar Blazona. This is going to be fun. All right. So he is the owner of a company that is currently doing over 8 figures, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
But you've got quite a fun backstory, and I'm really excited to share you with everyone because I want to get in your head and I want to share a little bit of that with our audience. So first and foremost, welcome to the show, Edgar.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to this.
All right. You don't mind me getting in your head.
Yeah, you can do it. We'll see how it goes. Absolutely.
All right. So let's start by talking a little bit about who you are, what you do, what your business is. So our audience has sort of a frame of reference for who they're going to be listening to for the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, sure. So I am a furniture designer, entrepreneur. I run a direct-to-consumer upholstery business. We make custom sofas, by the 5-inch increments. We ship them incredibly fast. We're one of those people online marketing to you once you click on us, and we'll follow you around and until you buy a sofa.
Love that. So you're a master of retargeting and pretty deep in the online marketing world.
Yeah, I've had to learn how to be a master at that. I'm a master furniture maker and furniture designer. I left high school very early on and started my first furniture company and have never looked back. So I've got lots of experience there and have learned my way into marketing in a very ever-changing, constantly changing, online world.
That's very true. I've occasionally referenced this on past episodes. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I started my first online marketing company back in early 2000. Mm-hmm. I will say it did not go particularly well, but I've watched the landscape of online marketing change so much. It used to be that literally you just wanted your link everywhere. And it was, a lot of people joke it was like the Wild West days of the internet, anything goes. That was back when spamming was just the norm. Everyone was kind of trying to figure out what to do. And now things have certainly become more sophisticated. They've also become a lot more complicated, and they're changing so fast. Now, I definitely want to talk about the mindset stuff with you, but I'd love to go into that business space for a little bit and talk about, from your perspective, what are you doing to create such a successful business?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really difficult these days. Marketing, as you said, marketing has changed so much. The way that, we market, I mean, honestly, it's like changing on a daily basis. One time we're here, okay, we're, Facebook is the avenue. They have the best, tools to be able to track the different customers we need. And, here we are, I'll give you a little, insight. We're tracking customers that are interested in home tech, meaning Nest and, Alexa and those types of things. And those type of people who are also looking for sofas might be the right combination to buy a sofa from us. It's like these weird little intricacies. And then suddenly the algorithm changes, and then that's all over. And then we have to get this other app and this other tool. And, and it just, like I said, it's a never ending, transition to basically get in front of the right people, right? In front of the people that are that are kind of our demographic, our customer, however much they make, are they looking for a red sofa? Well, we have red sofas. I mean, all these little intricacies. And it's quite the, like I said, ever-changing landscape. And it's getting more and more expensive. It's no longer, easy. Back in your day, we were arguing with brick and mortar retailers, right? They were like, oh, you guys have it so easy, and now we're paying $400, $500, $600 to get a customer. And that's a lot of money to be acquiring a customer with, even with all our little tricks of the trade.
So you mentioned you're a sofa guy, you're a furniture guy.
Yeah.
So when you started your business, was it because you were just into sofas, or how did that all come about?
I love this question because I am not one of those people who came to solve the problem. I'm going to go, solve the trucking industry, or I'm going to go solve the medical industry. I literally dropped out of high school, started a furniture company, got incredibly lucky, sold my first piece, and got some dollars, some actual cash in my hand, and was like, this is amazing. Forget being a busboy. I was doing some art at the time. Forget all that. Like, I'm now a furniture maker. And this kind of like, over the years, being in the furniture business, getting invited to people's homes. Now, when I get invited to someone's home for dinner, it's always I just kind of wait. When are they going to ask me? So let me ask you, take a look in this room. And what do you think? What should I do here? And then the next conversation is, I bought a piece of furniture and I'm still waiting for it. Or it was the worst experience of my life. And that was the thing that I really wanted to solve. In all honesty, like that was such a frustrating moment. Everyone loves to talk to the furniture designer because it sounds so sexy, but the back end of the furniture business isn't so sexy. And so kind of pairing the two, I think I had no choice. I had to kind of go tackle the furniture industry in itself and try to make it a better place and a better experience.
So in a roundabout way, you were pulled into your perfect niche in your industry. You were presented, you could say, with the problem that needed so desperately to be solved.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. And I think also there's one other element here that I frankly am very lucky to be involved with, and that's the tech industry here where I live in the Bay Area. It's like the gold rush, right? And so there's all of these inspiring minds trying to really come up with solutions, like you mentioned. And I watched, the first two kind of big chunks of that gold rush come and go, and missed it, right? Until this third one, this kind of third wave, 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, something like that, where we started to see more money being funded to what we now call direct to consumers, right? And you had companies like Casper and Dollar Shave Club that were starting to become successful, and it opened the eyes to investors. And I happen to be living in the Bay Area. I still live in the Bay Area, but I happen to be living here. And that kind of, there's just such an excitement around that. You can only, kind of follow in that. And luckily things had changed enough so I could be involved this time.
So now here you are, and you have clarity about what this business is and how you can make things better for your customers. Then where did this marketing piece come in? So you mentioned the, direct to consumer. So I think that's kind of the next logical step then, is you recognize that, but how did all of that start to unfold for you?
Do you mean in the early, well, I could say in the early days of the business, first of all, direct to consumer, that's an interesting one, right? It means directly to the consumer, right? If you think about it, anyone buying from a factory is selling directly to the consumer. Pottery Barn, Crate and Barrel, Restoration Hardware, they're all direct consumers. I actually had to build my own factory I wanted to build sofas incredibly quick. I noticed that there was this timeline that was incredibly long for a custom piece of furniture. How could I speed that up? And in order to do so, I basically had to build my own factory and start from scratch and start to change the way the furniture industry is manufacturing stuff. This also allowed me to raise money, right? With venture capital. Because when I went to venture capitalists and said, I want to raise money for a direct to consumer, they're like, I don't know. Like, you can't do what you say you're going to do anyway. So I had to go out and prove it. And that was a big, big step. And then once I kind of proved that I could make sofas in a quick timeline, I then had to go market it. And that is a lot about press, right? Having a good press story is probably more valuable these days than, paying for clicks, dollar for dollar, Google advertising, Facebook advertising, and so on. So you almost have to generate a story, right? There's a million furniture companies. There's a million, mattress companies. But what is the difference that you were going to do in that industry? Now, Casper, they started delivering mattresses in a box on a bike, right? That was like a big press moment. For us, it was about making sofas custom. At the time, we were making them by the inch, but making a sofa by the inch and doing it incredibly quickly, right? And within, at one point, we were making them within 24 hours. Yeah. So it's all about having this marketing angle, right? And presenting it in a way that wasn't cheesy. I hate cheesy. I did not want to be, come on down, get yourself a sofa today, that kind of thing. Like, that is just not my thing. And frankly, the furniture industry in itself is kind of in that direction. And I sort of like push back on the whole furniture industry in itself. It's so cheesy. So you really have to create an angle. And that's kind of what we did.
I love that. So you're not like, what are those things? They have like,
those floaty things.
That guy,
no. We would never have that. Our whole thing is what we call rebellious luxury, right? What is rebellious luxury? It's like we're rebelling against the norm of this furniture industry. We're a little punk ass, we're a little, hip and cool, we're not quite come on down and get yourself a sofa today,
That's fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it allows us to speak our voice. I'm an skateboarder, graffiti artist. I've had lots of little fun, weird businesses along the way. And I really wanted to build something that was really true. And I think that's really important in business, is building something that's true to yourself. So when you're out there talking about it, it doesn't sound fake. It sounds real and authentic.
I love that you said that. That is a perfect avenue for us to explore. So we're talking to a large audience of business owners, and a lot of people have this frustration in their industry that you referenced about, well, there's 10,000 different people doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. And everybody starts to sound the same, and everybody starts to look the same. And sometimes you get lost and you lose yourself. And one of the things that I personally am very passionate about is helping people to feel, like, who are you? Be authentic, fulfill your purpose. And your potential is different than Joe Schmo over there. Mm-hmm. Joe Schmo, he's got his thing going on. You got your thing going on. And you got to really lock into that if you really want to have a fulfilling life, mm-hmm. and not just a business that's bringing in revenue. Mm-hmm. So you are able to stand for that. Yes. And maybe you had a little bit of an advantage because you were a little rebellious, right? And some people, they toe the line a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being conservative if that's who you are. And there's nothing wrong with being a little rough around the edges if that's where, what you naturally are. I'd love for you to share a little bit more of your thoughts on that. So what are you feeling? What are you seeing with business owners?
Yeah, And you bring up something that's very difficult. And frankly, I've never actually thought about that as an advantage, right? I don't come from vanilla, right? So then I have to say that I tend almost push people away because I swear a little, I bring up things that maybe isn't totally, but I push that envelope a bit. And I think that there's people in business that don't necessarily push that envelope. And I think that's when you end up with a stale business. We are in these meetings, these marketing meetings with, let's say our email team, right? And you've got people that are, that are building emails that don't understand the voice, right? And they're like, there's all that same tone that you hear in those emails that you get constantly from companies, right? And I think that it's really important for us to be authentic. And we end up having to train our people how to speak in that authentic voice. And I'm constantly saying to them, does that sound like you would say that? Like, do you talk to your friends like that? And that's something that's like a constant thing. Do you talk to your friends like that? And I think there's a way to step back a second. And I think there's a way for companies to step back. Now, that said, if you're Nordstrom's, someone like that, a big, clothing retailer, something like that, you kind of expect that retail gibberish that I like to call it. But that doesn't come from us. We're a little bit more risky and a little bit more, pushing that envelope a bit. Our whole business model is pushing that envelope a bit, but it fits me, it fits my being, and so, like, for instance, before this meeting, I'm like, okay, what should I change my shirt? Do I need to put a collar on, so I present better? No, I don't put a collar on. I don't present better. Like, I wear the black shirt that I've been wearing all day today. So it's those things that I think help make your business authentic. And you're right, not everybody has that advantage, which that's kind
So
of
we
tough.
just reframed something in your subconscious mind.
Yes, a little bit. Yes. Thank God I have that advantage. Oh my God. Please, I'll have to retire when I don't.
All right. So it's time for me to ask you the question, which I ask all of my guests. If it doesn't sort of come out automatically, organically.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
All right, here we go. So are you willing to share with us something about your own mindset that you had to overcome in order to get to where you are today?
Gosh, I would love to share two with you. If I'll make it
Absolutely.
quick. I think the first mindset was my fear of being able to operate a big business, right? I'm sure you've heard imposter syndrome. That's very real, right? If you've never done it before, it's really scary. Will people will take me seriously, right? I understand furniture making, furniture design. Do I understand the numbers enough, right? I'm presenting to an investor. I'm presenting to, an accountant. Like, do I know the numbers enough? No, I don't, right? But I'm badass at what I do. And that makes up for not knowing those numbers enough. Now, numbers are so important. We should always know our numbers, blah, blah, blah. I got it, right? I can do it, but it's not like what I'm best at. And so I had to get over being okay with that, right? Then the second thing is something that's happened more recently. And it's what I'm calling the COVID slump. I have been, from a design side, I have been in a COVID slump. I've been working from home. I've got a little bit of anxiety, maybe a little bit more anxiety based on COVID. And I have found that it has wrecked my creativity, right? That true driving, like, I'm having fun. These things are just coming off the top and so on. And it's really kind of hurt me personally. It's really kind of put me in this COVID slump. So I had to get up out of the chair, right? I had to get up out of the chair, start driving around and start looking at the things that used to inspire me pre-COVID. That was restaurant design, hotel design, architecture, street art, all of those things. And when I did that, and this was just not too long ago, when I did that, it gave me this new inspiration again. And I found myself, and I quickly became like, okay, we're going to do this team. We're going to do that team. And it just started all flowing again. And it was a good reminder of what got me here and how I need to keep myself on track to continue to stay here.
That's incredibly inspiring. Somebody, I'm sure, needed to hear that. I've had a interesting string of synchronicities lately with clients and colleagues, really vulnerably expressing deep depression that they've been experiencing lately. There's a lot of people that are hurting right now. We're seeing a lot of wacky shit going on in our world. And most of us are pretty kind-hearted people, and we don't like seeing other people hurting.
It's hard. That is very, very difficult. And COVID has brought that. These new wars have brought that. It's hard. We're trying to use our reach to help some of those things. You know, we gave away a bunch of free sofas to nurses along the way. That brought a lot of smiles to my team and the people around me. And that was a big opportunity. And then just recently, we've been raising money. We have a design team in Ukraine that live literally in Lviv that we work with on a daily basis. And so we've been raising money for them, you know, and we know where that money's going. It's going right to the front. You know, we're getting pictures back of all the supplies they're buying. And it's been really inspiring. It's really helped us kind of crawl out of that depression, as you mentioned.
Yeah. We need to rise up as best we can and support one another. I'm really advocating for just raising, you know, the consciousness. And one of the reasons that I love working with entrepreneurs, and the reason that I've been doing the work that I've been doing as a business mindset coach for over a decade, specializing in working with business owners, is because we're the people who are the change makers. Now, it's not that people working at a 9-to-5 can't go out and make a difference in the world. I've just found that a lot of times those individuals feel so stifled by their circumstances. But entrepreneurs are the people who are like, you know, I'm putting it all on the line anyway. You know, I've already risked so much. I'm going for the bigger wins. I'm going for really making a positive difference in people's lives. So my hope is that the people who are listening to this are inspired to just keep doing your thing.
Totally. Heads down, keep doing it, you know, really trust in yourself. I think that's really what it is. You have to trust in yourself. And at times it is so difficult because you go through that like imposter syndrome that I talked about, right? You go through that, but you have to trust in yourself and that your idea is great and that it'll be accepted. You know, we have a limited amount of time, but you kind of have to judge and weigh all of those things to not go too far. You know, if it's failing, it's failing. Let's be honest, it's failing. But you do have to trust in yourself. And if you do fail, get back up and do it again. It takes quite a few failures. I've had multiple failures in my life, and I've got up and I've done it again. And I think that's what makes us good entrepreneurs. And at the end of the day, every successful entrepreneur has plenty of stories just like that.
Yeah. So true. All right, Edgar, how can our listeners connect with you?
Yeah, they can find me at benchmademodern.com. You can check out our sofas there. You can reach me there. You can get some free swatches there and so on. If they do go there, they can use MIND15 for a 15% off code that can be used anytime. No need to wait for a sale or anything like that. And then I'm also Edgar Blazona on Twitter. So you can reach me there as well. So either of those places is where you can find us.
Awesome. Okay, so this was a powerful conversation, and I know that there's probably at least one more inspirational thing that you can leave us with. So any final parting thoughts?
Gosh, final parting inspirational things. I think it goes all the way back to when I very first started. We were struggling. I was, we were barely making it, and there was local deliveries to be done in the Bay Area, and it cost me about $200 a delivery. And I thought, you know what? I'll deliver them. I'll put these sofas in the back of my truck. I'll show up at people's doors. Hello, sir. I'm here for the BenchMade Modern delivery, and I would do that. And that moment of that and meeting with these customers, I'd always like try to shake their hand, and they'd be looking at me like, what delivery guy shakes hands, and I would say, well, I'm the owner and designer of BenchMade Modern, and I really appreciate it. And what that did was that gave me a purpose, another purpose beyond just staring at the screen all day. It got me out there and in front of the customer, with the customer, and I got that feedback, that direct feedback. Oh my God, this sofa's beautiful. This is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever seen. And that kept me going, and that pushed me through those tough times. So if anything, if I can say anything to people, is get out there, touch your customers, touch their hands, say hi, meet them, get that direct feedback, because that can really help propel you on and on.
So good. Thank you so much, Edgar.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been nice. It's been nice to kind of bring up these stories.
And hopefully we've done a little bit of helpful shifting in you as well.
Yes. Yes, I had a little moment there. That's awesome. That's cool.
Well, thank you to all of our listeners as well. We are doing this for you. If you have not already subscribed, please make sure you do so. And until next time.